3 golden eagles for War Thunder. Link in the description. Hello you sexy beasts! Welcome back to BluePrints, the show that is indeed blue, but shows a lack of actual prints. In this episode, we're comparing the German Panzerkampfwagen 5 Panther series. The Panthers are German medium tanks with decent armor and high velocity cannons. The variants we are going to compare are, in order, the Panther D, Panther A, Panther G, Panther F and Panther II. Little disclaimer here, these tests have been done on completely upgraded tanks with completely aced crews. The first Panther you can unlock is the Panther D. This tank sits at a battle rating of 5.7 at tier 3 and features the Kampfwagenkanone 42 75mm L70 gun. The gun has a pretty fast 7.4 second reload time in my configuration and fires an APAG type APCBC shell with up to 187mm of penetration, a muzzle velocity of 935 m per second and an explosive filler of 28.9 grams. This situates the Panther D as an alternative option to the Tiger I, having a faster, better penetrating shell that does less damage but is better at longer ranges. The gun handling, however, is what holds this tank back, having an abysmal turret rotation speed of only 6 degrees per second at best. The vertical guidance is pretty good, allowing the gun to travel between -8 and 20 degrees, but the 4 degrees per second vertical traverse speed can be problematic in fast-paced close-quarter engagements. The mobility of the Panther D is mediocre at best. Due to its 14.5 horsepower per ton power-to-weight ratio, it is a pretty decent acceleration, taking only 7.1 seconds to get up to 30 km/h, and is a very good top speed of 55 km/h. However, it is also one of the worst reverse speeds in the game, at only 4 km/h, which has often gotten me kills whilst trying to get into cover. On the spot, the Panther D can rotate its hull at 14.9 degrees per second, and whilst rolling, it can traverse at a pretty good 24.5 degrees per second. This makes the tank a bit sluggish in city streets, but still playable. As for the armor, it is arguably better than the Tiger I in some regards. The hull features a sloped 80mm frontal plate, which effectively gives it between 110 to 130mm of armor. The lower plate, which is a massive weak spot in Tiger, is actually quite strong in the Panther. Whilst it is only 60mm thick, it is quite sloped, giving it between 140 to 160mm of effective thickness. The turret is a mixed bag, having a very rounded gun mantled, but only 100mm of armor on the flat parts. This is the weak spot of all Panthers from the front, but if you stay at long range and use some bushes, you can essentially turn this thing into a heavy tank. I know there was a lot of numbers to take in such a short time, but don't worry, that was just the basis of all the Panther tanks. The next variants I'll just modify one or two aspects of the Panther D's base stats. Alright, next up is the Panther A. The Panther A has a battle rating of 6.0 at tier 4 and features exactly the same gun, hull and turret as the Panther D. But it receives a massive boost to mobility and gun handling. The biggest difference is the turret rotation speed, which quadruples the Panther D's abysmal 6 degrees per second to an astonishing 24 degrees per second. On top of that, the Panther A also gets a slightly stronger engine, which results in a better acceleration and hull traverse. The tank accelerates from 0 to 30 in 6.5 seconds, shaving off over half a second of the previous model. The standing hull traverse remains the same, but the rolling traverse gains a whole 10 degrees per second, bumping the total up to 35.6 degrees per second. Sadly, the Panther A still retains the horrible 4 km/h reverse speed. On top of the massive upgrade to mobility, the Panther A also gets access to an APCR shell, with 226mm of penetration and a muzzle velocity of 1120 m per second. Whilst the shell is useless at long ranges due to the massive penetration drop-off of APCR shells, it is very effective at taking out heavy tanks at close ranges. With the exception of the Panther II, the Panther A has the best power-to-weight ratio of the series, at 15.6 horsepower per ton. This allows it to get to the objective much faster than the other variants, and in conjunction with the much faster turret traverse, turns this thing into a brawler. Stats wise, this is the best Panther I. Do keep in mind that your turret is still very weak, and at close range an experienced enemy will know how to hit the flat front. It is recommended that you flank around and give yourself space to turn around the whole tank should you need to retreat, as your reverse speed will let you down. Next up, we have the Panther G. This Panther sits at the same 6.0 battle rating and is the first one to show visible differences on the armor. Whilst the turret is the same as in the previous models, the gun mantle is slightly modified to remove the lower shot trap, replacing it with a mostly flat 120mm plate instead. The hull is also slightly different, removing 10mm of armor from the lower plate and adding 10mm to the sides of the hull instead, making them both 50mm thick. The gun remains the same, but the turret rotation speed receives a slight downgrade to 20 degrees per second. This is still very good at close quarter combat, but sadly the Panther G throws away all the mobility upgrades that the Panther A got. First of all, the Panther G and Panther F received the weakest engines in the series, at only 600 horsepower. This gives the G a power-to-weight ratio of only 13.4 horsepower per ton, making it one of the most sluggish Panthers. On top of that, the already bad reverse speed gets even worse, down to 3 km per hour. The top speed is also decreased, limited to 46 km per hour. The weaker engine affects the acceleration as well, making the Panther G take 7.8 seconds to get from 0 to 30. The standing traverse is worse, at 12.2 degrees per second, but interestingly, the rolling traverse is a bit better than the Panther D's, at a comfortable 30.8 degrees per second. Overall, the Panther G is just a Panther D with a better turret, and should still only be employed at long range. To finish off the Panther 1 series, we have the Panther F. This tank has a battle rating of 6.3 and features a slightly different gun and a completely different turret, but the same hull and weak engine as the Panther G. Since it features the same hull and engine, it also has exactly the same acceleration, standing traverse, rolling traverse, top speed and reverse speed as the previous model. Now, the gun is a Kampfwagenkanone 44 L70. It is the same caliber and length as the previous model, but features a slightly faster reload time of 6.7 seconds. The turret it is housed in is known as the Schmalturm and features a completely flat 120mm frontal plate with a 300mm gun mantle and a rangefinder. From the front, the turret sides are also effectively 300mm thick. Overall, this turret is a smaller target than the previous one, but since the Panther F has a battle rating of 6.3, its armor is negligible. Especially the British tend to get access to APTS shells on most of the tanks at this tier, and they will have no trouble punching straight through you. Meanwhile, your gun is technically an upgrade over the KWK-42, but it still features exactly the same ammo choices with the same penetration values and muzzle velocities. Whilst this gun was good at 5.7, at 6.3 you start to struggle penetrating the opposition. Whilst the addition of the rangefinder is a nice tool for long-range target acquisition if you don't have a maxed crew, overall the Panther F is just not worth it. There's nothing that this tank can do that the Panther A can't do better, and at a lower battle rating. And at last, but definitely not least, we have the Panther II. This is a completely different tank from the previous models, sitting at a battle rating of 6.7 at tier 5. This little beast features the same Schmalturm as the Panther F, but ditches the 75mm pea shooter for the King Tiger's 88mm gun. Not only that, it also gets an absolutely amazing engine, bumping up the power-to-weight ratio to an astonishing 19.1 horsepower per ton. How does that affect the tank? Well, it only takes the Panther II 5.1 seconds to get up to 30 km per hour. The standing traverse is faster than the Panther A's at 18.4 degrees per second, and the rolling traverse is bumped up to 31 degrees per second. But the single biggest upgrade that the Panther II gets is the 14 km per hour reverse speed. You can actually use the reverse speed to get out of a sticky situation. It's amazing! The Panther II is the pinnacle of the Panther series, combining the deadly firepower of the King Tiger with the mobility of a light tank, all whilst having very decent hull armor. Of course, the battle rating means that you will have to face superior tanks more often, but the Panther II can actually hold its own even at top tier battles, since it can simply flank around the entire map and surprise the enemy with deadly side shots. It is really a blast to play this thing. So, to recap, the Panther D is a nice long-range sniping machine with good armor, but horrible turret traverse. The Panther A is the option that turns the Panther D into a brawler, with better mobility and turret traverse. Alternatively, the Panther G allows you to return to the long-range sniping role with a slightly better turret and side armor. The Panther F is just overall not that good, and I would recommend skipping it altogether. And finally, the Panther II is a godly little beast of a killing machine, and I highly recommend going for it. So, hopefully that cleared up some of the confusion regarding all the different variants of the Panther series. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section down below. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe if you're new around here. My name's been MikeGoesBoom. Thanks for watching.
You can lift your head up to the sky, take a deeper breath and give it time. You can walk the path among the lines with your shattered frame of mind. Or instead you could always stay. We can wait right here and play until somehow you can find a slightly